Welcome to Real Estate Radio Live, an informative and engaging hour discussing everything you need to know about the world of real estate. Your host, Tom K. Wilson, provides you with insight and guidance from his years of experience as a successful real estate entrepreneur on how to buy, sell, finance, and invest in real estate, and much, much more. Now, here's your host for Real Estate Radio Live, Tom K. Wilson.
Well, thanks for tuning in to our Real Estate Radio Live program, your number one source for all of your real estate needs and education. We're broadcasting from the number one business radio station in the San Francisco Bay Area, KDOW AM 1220, the Wall Street Business Network. I'm Tom K. Wilson, your host for the 2 p.m. Wednesday edition of Real Estate Radio Live that comes to you Wednesday and Friday at 2 p.m. and daily Monday through Friday at 3 p.m. along with co-host Joe Cachera, Mike D'Ambrosio, and Bobby Decker. If you can't make the live show, you can catch your podcast on reradiolive.com and my programs on tomwilsonproperties.com or on iTunes or on YouTube. We have with us today Laurie Graymont, the president of SJREI, and we'll bring her on here in just a moment. You can always go to tomwilsonproperties.com and sign up for our weekly newsletter. You can also see what the latest products are. We offer products that are turnkey home rentals as well as commercial and multifam syndications. We offer coaching. We have a lot of education information on our website, a number of white papers you can request. And we always welcome your questions and ideas for topics and guests to come on the program. We always welcome your questions. So we have with us today in the studio Laurie Graymont, longtime friend, longtime investor, who's invested in all kinds of things, including flips and long-term holds, and she's done syndications and JV operations. Also is the president and owner of SJREI Association, which is the premier real estate investment association in the San Francisco Bay Area. And Laura, it's always a pleasure to have you. Welcome to the program.
Thank you, Tom. It's my pleasure.
Laurie, tell us how you got started in the real estate business.
Long time ago. So I was raised with a very hardworking mom. And so when she and my dad separated, she decided she wasn't going to live in an apartment. She wanted to live in a house. And so she went and negotiated an owner-seller carry and moved us into a very broken house. And we had the opportunity to learn what rehabbing was while we lived there.
Little did you know that you were going to someday own a license for a We Buy Ugly Houses franchise.
Exactly. Exactly. So we beautified the house. We lived there for a couple of years, and she then went wheeling and dealing and traded the house, pretty much even up for another house that was a little bit better, different community. And again, we moved into a broken house that we got to fix up. And so then she started doing it outside, and all of us kids had to participate because that's what we did as a family. And so I learned it from that aspect.
Where does she get that skill set that planted the seeds for you?
I have no idea. Her
parents,
because
back then in her generation, that wasn't as common a thing for a woman to do, was it?
It was not common. She was breaking barriers the whole time. Oftentimes she would say, "I wish I was a man. This would be much easier." Because she had to work with contractors, and there was a lot of stereotypes at that time. She did realize the value of having relationships, and so she made some relationships with local banks, which allowed her to make purchases outside the house we were living in. And that became her life, is fixing and flipping properties. And so we grew up in that, and I carried the baton.
Yeah, that's wonderful. I know you sadly lost your mom not long ago, and that was bittersweet, knowing that the business that you're in now, she planted the seed strongly for, and you learned a lot of skill sets from her. I'm sure, I would guess she was pretty proud of what you did with the seed she planted.
Yes. The real estate gave me the opportunity to spend the time with her. I was able to have my business continue while I was spending time with her. And And, she did say things like, I'm so proud of you. You've grown this more than I could have ever done. And, she was, really impressed at the level that we were able to grow it to. But I couldn't have done it without her support, so.
It's like most any successful enterprise, it's a team sport, isn't it?
It is, absolutely.
So then, what was kind of the first thing you did striking out on your own? What was the first big risk you took?
Yeah, so the first big risk was buying my first house when I was 19 years old. Interest rates were like 21%. It was a HUD home, $500 down, and I was a college student, so I didn't have any income. So I had to somehow...
Details.
Yeah, I know, really. So I had to show the bank how I could afford the house. And so I went to my mom, and she's like, well, just get leases. And I'm like, oh, well, that was brilliant. And so I went out and I signed up a couple college students to rent rooms, and I qualified for the loan. And so my dad came down, and we renovated the basement, turned it into an apartment, rented that out, rented 2 rooms upstairs, and I had cash flow, and I was hooked.
So were you able to buy it with no money down?
$500, that was it. Yep.
Wonderful.
Yeah, and everybody's crying about interest rates now. I mean, my first interest rate was 21%. I mean, who cares about the interest rate? We're all looking at the payment. My payment was like $480 or something like that. It was some low payment. So that was my first house. I bought my second one when I was 21, and there I went.
Whatever metric it is that's up or down, there's always opportunities. It might be a different kind of opportunity than when the metric was at a different spot, whether it's the price is high or low, or the supply or demand is high or low. There's always opportunity.
That's it.
You just got to flow with it, and you can't keep trying to force the same thing to happen that worked yesterday, because yesterday is not today. I like to point to the example of when America started trying to eat more healthy, and you had all these steakhouses, and most went belly up, but Sizzler was smart enough to add a salad bar, and they stayed alive.
There you go. You do have to be a chameleon as a business owner, especially in the real estate, because like you said, there's always changing metrics that you have to use. When I moved out to California, obviously one of the changing metrics from the Midwest was the price of homes. They're a lot more expensive out here. But you still can get financing. You still can do flips if you know your numbers and you create the relationships.
So briefly, just give a quick synopsis of the different real estate spaces that you've been in.
Okay. Yeah, so the first thing I did was a flip in the Bay Area. And then I moved out to Merced for a while and was buying houses, turning them into offices. And so we did the conversion process in that. Went to Texas and developed a duplex development down there. I've bought, I don't know how you say it, HAP property, HAP, HAP property projects. It's fully supported by the government, and managed that and was able to resell that. We've bought bulk REOs, which was kind of a gambling game where you buy 10 or more properties at a time, nationwide. At some point, we were like in 43 different states, holding properties, managing those, selling those out on land contracts, which is a seller financing tool. And we've done commercial, where we bought strip malls and tenanted those and sold those. And let's see, what else have I done? Recently, we've moved back to the Bay Area, and we're doing development where we're adding on to the properties that we're buying. We're adding value.
Well, you always got to keep shifting with the market, don't you?
Always be learning.
Yep, always. I tell people that, in spite of being fortunate enough to have a fair amount of experience in this general space, there's a day goes by I don't learn something new.
Always.
That's what keeps it interesting, doesn't it?
Well, and that's the value. I've said relationships a couple times. SJREI is a tool for both learning and relationships, and that is what attracted me to the business. And I was able to acquire the business a year ago, but I was an attendee for 10 years, going there, making relationships in the area. And that really is the key, is to be listening to what's happening in the marketplace through the relationships you have, and putting deals together with what works at that point in time in the marketplace.
Well, I've been, coming up my 14th year now of going to SJREI, and occasionally, I attend others, and there are a couple of others in the Bay Area that are certainly, I think, respectable as well. But this has been a very, very consistent following for a long time, and I think part of it's because the emphasis is on education.
Mm-hmm.
There are at times people and products that could be purchased, but it's not promoted from the stage, and people go there and they learn things that help them with their business, and they meet lots of people who can help be part of their team and solve their problems.
Yes.
It's a wonderful program that you've continued and nurtured, and I think moving it up to the next level.
Yeah, so, this last year, SJREI has a great foundation for education, and that's what I loved about it too, was the education and the networking. But one of the things that we wanted to bring as the new blood to the organization was action. We wanted to inspire people to take action, because as long as you're sitting there and you're not putting your money to work, your money is losing value. And so we just felt it was really important to put in ways that they can start taking actions. And so we pulled in our affiliate businesses and encouraged them to get out into the audience and network with the audience and help them to take the next step in whatever process they were taking for their investments.
Yep, and it's that's action certainly is an important feature. I know our mutual friend Richard Smith, who's an accountant who has hundreds of clients in the real estate. He knows. He's told me of, and I'm sure you too, of a number of clients he has that have spent lots of money over the years, and you and I certainly believe in education.
Yes.
But some have spent tens of thousands of dollars, and they still don't own a product.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. So, I had a couple gentlemen come counsel with me, and they're hearing these fund flip, seminars. Come to our seminar. We'll teach you how to flip properties, and we'll fund you to do it. And they're all excited about the opportunity. And I encourage them to go to that. It's like $1,000 investment to go to the class for maybe 1 or 2 days. So go to that.
Sure.
But I told them to put their credit card away and do not pay for the $40,000 coaching, because that $40,000 can be used as a down payment or a participation.
In which you'll learn a whole lot more.
Which you will learn, and you will be growing your bank account. You can learn stuff by coming to the association and hanging with people who are actually doing it. You can sign up for free mentorships. Be the person that is the gopher for somebody who's active, and learn it in the field with somebody who's actually doing it.
And with very little at risk at that stage of the game in doing
Exactly.
that.
Yep.
Yeah. There are lots of places to get education without spending a lot of money. I think some of these boot camps or courses or classes are okay, but it's just like getting an MBA at Stanford or something. I think those that get the most value out of that are ones who've been out in industry for a while, or they're dovetailing it with the program. And you're going to learn a lot more that way. We have with us today Laurie Graymont, who is the president of SJREI, the premier real estate investment organization in the San Francisco Bay Area, and a very experienced and active investor for many, many years. Sharing with us her experiences on what investors can do and should not do. So stay with us here in KDOW 1220 AM. We'll be back in just a moment.
For more information on today's program, visit RERadiolive.com. That's RERadiolive.com. Welcome back to Real Estate Radio Live, streaming live on iHeart, TuneIn, and KDOW.biz. For more information on today's topic or guest, just visit RERadiolive.com. That's RERadiolive.com. Again, your host for today's edition of Real Estate Radio Live, Tom K. Wilson.
Welcome back. So nice to have you with us. We have Laurie Graymont in the studio with us today, who's a very accomplished investor, the president of the SJREI Real Estate Investors Association, and also the president of Summit
Assets
Group, which is a real estate investment organization. So, Laurie, we were talking about the importance of education, but not at the expense of lack of action, and how SJREI is an organization that you've tried to add an additional or stronger element of allowing people to take action. What are some of the ways that you have and intend to mold the organization to help people take action?
So last year we did a survey when we took over, and one of the things that people indicated is they wanted more education opportunities, but they also wanted more opportunities to participate in investing, either individually or as a group. And so we've worked with individuals such as yourself who bring syndication projects that they can invest in. We've worked with turnkey providers that provide passive income opportunities, and we're actually hosting what we're calling a buying event. A buying event meaning a one-stop shop where people who are interested in putting their money into a vehicle such as real estate, which maybe doesn't have the roller coaster effect as the stock market, they can come to this event. They can learn how to employ their 401ks and IRAs. They can learn how to invest out of state and even have opportunities to buy properties out of state at this event. So that's an opportunity where they can actually take action that Saturday, sign contracts, get things going, because life is busy. And while we have goals, sometimes the hardest step is the first step. And once the ball gets rolling, you're willing to take the actions to continue it. So we want to provide an opportunity for people to come with the mindset that they can actually employ their current liquid assets into properties that provide passive income, safety, security of real estate, and
have a variety of choices.
Exactly.
Yep. Which is, I think, really nice compared to a singular event where maybe the sponsor has just one kind of product.
Right.
Let's see. I meant to bring the schedule with me. The next event like that is in March.
It's in March, yes. So March 5th is our buying event, and the pre-registration price is only $29 if they want to register online. So they can head out to sjrei.org and register there. It'll be $49 at the door. So it is worth the time to register early. And you can see all the different people that will be presenting. So it's set up as education. You will learn, how to invest. You'll learn about different marketplaces. You'll learn how you can use IRA money. And the reason we talk about IRA money is a lot of people are not happy with their performance they've seen the last decade in the stock market. And they're looking at, what do I do with this to make sure I have retirement money when I hit that age?
We have clients coming to us every day who are just sitting on money that has low yields, or now they're worried about securities if they're sitting in mutual funds. I have fun joking now with people that, I haven't seen anybody lately that's selling their real estate to put the money into the stock market.
Yeah.
But anyway, yields have just been low for such a long time. So now people are looking into things they haven't looked at before.
Well, I think it's been deemed the lost decade. A lot of people who've been in the stock market don't feel like they've seen the growth they should have for the last 10 years. And so they're looking for something that's not as volatile.
And similarly, the most volatile time we've ever had in real estate was just a number of years ago, and that pain is still felt by many people. But I think most have realized that if they had pain from that, their investments were really, and if they're honest with themselves, were really more speculative, looking for fast gains.
Yes.
And if they got in and out at the right time, they got that. But it's really hard to get out in time when there's a cliff going on. And most real estate investing is not like real estate speculation. Real estate investing is something that's more calculating. It's either for long-term hold, or it's something that you can get in and out of quickly and not be affected by markets.
Absolutely.
So we have with us here today Laurie Graymont, who is the president and owner of SJREI, the premier Bay Area real estate investment organization, and also longtime investor who's talking about her experiences. And we'll get into a little bit more after the next break about her recommendations from what she's learned about things to do and things not to do, and also other events that are coming up on SJREI that you can look forward to and to participate in. So this is Real Estate Radio Live on KDOW 1220 AM, the Wall Street Business Network. Stay around. We'll be right back.
For more information on today's program, visit RERadiolive.com. That's RERadiolive.com. Welcome back to Real Estate Radio Live, streaming live on iHeart, TuneIn, and KDOW.biz. For more information on today's topic or guest, just visit RERadiolive.com. That's RERadiolive.com. Again, your host for today's edition of Real Estate Radio Live, Tom K. Wilson.
So nice to have you with us today. We have Laurie Graymont in the studio, the president of Summit Asset Group, a real estate investment company, San Jose Real Estate Investment Club, or association, I guess is what I'm supposed to call it, right?
Yes.
and a longtime investor. So we're talking about the things that you need to do to take action and not just learn. And SJREI is an organization that is certainly gives you opportunities to invest. How everybody is really looking for higher yields these days, but they're also concerned about the downside risk. And Warren Buffett's famous saying of "Don't lose what you have" is one of the best things you can do to build up a portfolio a long time. I always tell people, I think out of all the things I've invested in, which is a lot of different kinds of things, real estate's been the best, and I call it the best get-rich-slow scheme there is.
Yeah, if you're actually investing, real estate investing, it is a get-rich-slow. It's unfortunate that in the Bay Area we have this perception that everything needs to be fast and big, right? And so a lot of people, we had talked on the last segment how people were still, some were still licking wounds from the last downturn in real estate. But if you look at the people who lost money in that, it was the speculation. It was the people who were going out investing for the quick appreciation that they were expecting. But if you're buying properties that are cash flowing and giving you a cap rate of 10 or even an 8, while that doesn't sound sexy or like, oh my gosh, the reality is you add time to that and you're building wealth. Yes. And that's what that make smart investments, not speculations. And
you get tax sheltered, so if it gets a mediocre 7% return, that's more like 11-12% on something that gets taxed. Plus, if you have some leverage, say 4-to-1, and let's say it only appreciates 6% in a year, which is the kind of the national average over the last 20-30 years. If you're leveraged 4-to-1, that's 24% return on your down payment, plus your cash flow. And it's not, you shouldn't go Google for highest projected appreciating city in the United States, because probably it's not going to cash flow. Well, and it's going to be the quickest dropping. That's right. And so it's not how much the property appreciates, it's how much your down payment return is. Yes. So you can just take the turtle approach often outdoes the hare, and you can certainly make some quick bucks if you do if you flip a house. Right. But there are too many people in this business, and the good places where you can get out. I always like, when I flip, getting something that I know has a solid market to buy it, and then not get a steal in an area that you're not sure what you're going to be able to sell it for. So what I'd like to do maybe in our next segment is talk a little bit about some rules for buying to flip, because I know that there are some active investors that are looking for some bigger gains versus just the slow appreciation and passive income. But there's definitely some rules to invest or to use when you're doing that type of investing to keep yourself safe. And so maybe we can talk about that in the next segment. Okay, let's do that. And certainly, flipping to get some gains that then you could go invest long term is certainly an acceptable strategy, but you got to be really careful. And indeed, you don't want to be doing the flipping forever. It's a very busy business. Yes. And you want to get your investments into some things that will give you passive income long term. So if flipping helps you get there, do so. But boy, do it very carefully. We'll talk about flipping when we come back on the next segment with Laurie Graymont, president of SJREI and president of the Summit Asset Group. And stay with us here on KDOW 1220 AM, the Wall Street Business Network. We'll be right back with Laurie Graymont.
For more information on today's program, visit RERadiolive.com. That's RERadiolive.com. Welcome back to Real Estate Radio Live, streaming live on iHeart, TuneIn, and KDOW.biz. For more information on today's topic or guest, just visit RERadiolive.com. That's RERadiolive.com. Again, your host for today's edition of Real Estate Radio Live, Tom K. Wilson.
We have Laurie Graymont with us today in the studio, longtime investor, president of Summit Assets Group and of the San Jose Real Estate Investment Association, and longtime investor. Laurie, let's talk a little bit about flips. That's an exciting business. It's on TV shows. There are folks that come in town and tell you how you can get rich quick, and you can.
Yes.
However.
Flipping houses is not for the faint of heart. And it is often the place that newbies start out in, and it's usually where they lose the most money. You know, there's just a lot of moving pieces. So when I started flipping on my own, I called my mom up, who was my mentor in all of this, and I said, Mom, how do you know that you have enough money in the budget to do the repairs and make a profit? And she said, oh, that's easy. You get 3 bids and you add them together. And then there was this long pause, and I was waiting for her to say, you average it, you take the 3, you divide it by 3, and and that's what no, but she said you add three bids together, and if you can make
you mean it's possible that it can cost more than than what is initially projected?
Oh, it always costs more than what's initially projected, because there's things that you don't know, you don't see.
And takes longer.
And it takes longer. There's the element of people. People don't always perform what they say they're going to do. And unfortunately, contractors are notorious for, saying that they're going to be on your job and they go work somebody else's job, and that delays you. And if you're having carry costs for your mortgages, that's going to cost you money.
And you might miss the market.
Yes, and you might come out in October instead of coming out in August, which is a different marketplace. So there are lots of variables in this. So all newbies that are thinking of doing this should, in my opinion, partner with somebody who's experienced. They should come in and ride the coattails of somebody who does this over and over and learn it on maybe 3 or 4 projects before they take on their own, because there are so many risks, cost overrun, time overrun. Maybe you didn't pull the right permits. Maybe you open up the walls and you find out that you have significant termite damage, and instead of repairing one wall, you're having to rebuild a whole house.
Education on your own can be very expensive.
Yes.
Go accept a little less return on your first few and learn from somebody that's been through the hard knocks education, right?
Yep. Yeah, on these shows that they put out on TV, they always make it look like they're making money, but what they aren't showing are the costs such as your utilities, your taxes, paying the realtor commissions. By the time you're done, if you don't plan properly, the realtor is going to make more money than you. And you just took all the risk and time and brain damage to get it done. So it is not a business for newbies. Newbies should simply find the deals and wholesale them to experienced rehabbers.
Or tag on with them.
Yep.
And in general, Summit was a turnkey provider for a long time for products in other places, and Wilson Investment Properties still does that. And I think one of the strengths for our clients, investors, was that they're taking advantage of the experience of a team that's already figured out how to do it and greatly reduce their risk.
That's right. Yeah, we've rehabbed over hundreds of properties remotely and locally, and we pretty much know how to budget and have the contingency for what could go wrong. And you know what? We still lose money on some properties, and that may come as a shock, but the reality is you win money on more than you lose. That's how you stay in business. And so if you're a newbie and you're going out to do this and you lose money on your first property, hopefully you have deep pockets to go to your next one. Because it's almost guaranteed that if you've never done it before and you just went to one of these classes, that it's going to end up that way.
And even for finding a long-term hold, of course, you can walk into any city and go find an agent and go do it yourself, and it may turn out okay. But if you utilize someone, whether it be a friend or a turnkey provider, they know what neighborhoods work better. They've already got crews that know how to rehab efficiently. Mm-hmm. They already know what that rent's really going to be. And you can't have a house that you think the rent's going to be from $1,100 to $1,300. $1,100 might be a loser and $1,300 a winner. You need to know exactly what it is. So
that's right.
That's what a team is going to, established team and established product is going to help you do, is remove a lot of those risks and the hassle time. Because I think the profit on these for the providers is a lot lower than people realize on the
yes.
average.
Yeah.
And we've got, I guess, using my kind of engineering background and systematization, we got systems in place so that we don't make much money per product, but we're very consistent. We occasionally lose money, but most of the time we make a little bit because we got these systems down. So whether you're doing flipping or buying long-term holds, if you ride on the coattails of somebody that's done it a lot of times, they've started to hone down on systems that makes the whole thing more predictable. And that's what you want is predictability.
That's right. Predictable and safe. You want a safe place. Absolutely.
Yep. Just for a moment here, if we wrap up this segment in the next minute, what's Laurie's thoughts? You've been around in a number of different markets for a while. What do you think's happening in the marketplace now? It's our friend Dr. Doug Duncan, who's coming to speak in April at SJREI, says if anybody tells you how this market's going to play out, run like heck. 'Cause he gets pretty high level inputs, but he doesn't know. He'll tell you his opinion. But what are your thoughts about our markets?
Like Doug, nobody has a crystal ball. We can only go off from the past of what we know and the future of what we predict. And so, in my opinion, I think that we have a continued strong market here through the election year, and maybe things start to cool a little bit, but not anything significant in the Bay Area marketplace. But our marketplace is an anomaly to the rest of the nation, and so we really have to pay attention, market-specific areas, what's happening in each of those areas.
And I think you fully endorse what I tell people all the time is that it's hundreds of submarkets. And even in a different price class in the same neighborhood, it can do something quite different. So you really, again, need to get hold of somebody who's an expert in that particular type of product in that particular area, and you'll get some indicators before it starts to soften too much, unlike the stock market, which can really cliff off. This is KDOW, Real Estate Radio Live, 1220 a.m., the Wall Street Business Network. We have Laurie Graymont with us here today, who's a very experienced investor, president of SJREI. And we'll talk a little bit more about events and speakers that are coming up right after the break.
For more information on today's program, visit RERadiolive.com. That's RERadiolive.com. Welcome back to Real Estate Radio Live, streaming live on iHeart, TuneIn, and KDOW.biz. For more information on today's topic or guest, just visit RERadiolive.com. That's RERadiolive.com. Again, your host for today's edition of Real Estate Radio Live, Tom K. Wilson.
It's been great having Laurie on the show today and sharing some of her thoughts and lessons she's learned from all of her investing experience. Laurie, tell us a little bit about what's coming up on SJREI.
Sure. So on stage tomorrow, we have Larry Stone, the tax assessor. Now, you might go, why would we want him? Why would we want to hear? But he is a local investor, and he has his pulse on what's going on in the marketplace. He is, voted as one of the top most powerful people in the Silicon Valley. And so we feel that it's good to hear what he's seeing, because he's seeing everything as far as collections and values of properties, all of that. And so we're there to pick his brain.
And he's been at it a long time,
Yes.
highly respected on both parties.
Yes.
And he's an investor. He has a lot of long-term
Absolutely.
investments himself.
Yep.
And for those that maybe aren't listening to it live, the date is February
11th.
11th, okay,
Yes.
for Thursday.
Thursday.
It's always the first Thursday of the month, unless it's the second Thursday, because the first conflicts with a holiday. But
Or the Super Bowl.
That's right. So go to sjrei.org and see what events are coming up. Let's tell folks what else
So the way that our meetings run is that we have a networking opportunity, we have a main speaker, and we have market updates. And our own Tom Wilson gives us the market updates, which is really the pulse of what's happening in not just our marketplace, but other markets, the value of the data data that's given is wonderful. So we appreciate your participation in that.
Thank you. A lot of work goes into that.
Yes.
Thanks to my good people and team that I rely on.
Yes. So, I mean, the time that you spend is education, networking. There's opportunities to take action. It's valuable. So we encourage you to not just participate one night, but to sign up as a member, because we also have additional member specials where we give the members discount rates. They can watch videos of all the presentations and attend trainings in that at discounts.
And some other events, and other speakers and all that are coming up are our friend Dr. Doug Duncan, who's the chief economist of Fannie Mae, who is respected as one of the most accurate predictors in the country and one of the most influential economists in the country. He's not an ivory tower kind of guy. He's very practical, has investments himself.
That's right.
And we've had the pleasure of knowing him for a number of years. He's going to be here in April. We got Eddie Speed, who is a expert on notes, and that will be have a workshop along with that as well. Coming up in, I think it's August, Steve Fithian, expert in commercial, will be co-presenting with me about commercial properties, commercial syndications, to see if that's something that might fit into your portfolio. And also we'll have a workshop on that, another buying event. John Schaub, I think, will be coming out, and then Bruce Norris will be coming in October.
Right. That's right.
So very full schedule. So, Lori, thanks for being with us today. As always, we'll get you back soon. It's been too long.
It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, thanks for being here with us on KDOW 1220 AM, the Real Estate Radio Live. And remember to go to TomWilsonProperties.com to sign up for a weekly newsletter, to get advance notice of products that we have that are available, and education events as well. We always look forward to your input and questions and seeing you at the various events. So thank you again, Lori, for being with us today. And we'll have you back real soon. And remember, the only thing that matters is what you do next. See you next time.
You've been listening to Real Estate Radio Live. For more information on today's program, visit RERadiolive.com. That's RERadiolive.com. Tune in, log in, download our podcast. Discover more at RERadiolive.com. RERadiolive.com.